Thanks for joining us on this edition of National Focus. I'm Nisha Charles. Coming up, an increased number of ambulance calls for the Fire and Ambulance Department during 2014. Climate change initiatives come through to fruition, and Carnival 2015 expected to be a major success. Stay tuned for details of these and other stories after this.
If you can believe this,
come by my house and let me show you some movies.
why can't you believe this? Some mothers don't believe their own children when they say they've been sexually abused, and they don't report it. Remember, if anyone asks to see or touch their private parts, touches them inappropriately, shows them or forces them to touch one's private parts, has sex with them, shows them pornographic material, or deliberately lets them hear or see the act of sex, then it is sexual abuse. Believe your child and report the sexual abuse. For more information about child abuse, contact these agencies. This message brought to you by UNICEF and this station.
Thanks for staying with us. The Fire and Ambulance Services is reporting that a significant number of more calls were made during 2014. This is just some of the data coming from the Fire and Ambulance Department's year in review for 2014. In 2014, 8,635 ambulance calls were made to the department, compared to 7,158 in 2013, an increase of 1,477 calls. Chief Fire Officer Josiah Dupey explains what could cause that increase.
One of them could be that last year, and I think this is certainly the truth, last year we had better ambulance coverage in the country than we have had ever. I think that is very significant. And by that what I mean is, some of you may remember, because you were here when we had ceremonies assigning ambulances to certain districts. We had ambulance present in the various health districts for the year, and that was better coverage than any previous period that I can certainly remember. But it may also tell a story about people who are accessing that particular service.
He's suggesting that multiple ambulances be available in the districts where more activity is being reported.
Your data, I think, would point to about 3,000, a little more than 3,000 calls in the Roseau area alone. Interestingly, you would also see that in the Grand Bay and Portsmouth area, you have significant amount of calls. And even that data spoke to me. I was like, really? Grand Bay was pulling that amount of ambulance calls? And so clearly, again, by virtue of the activity with regard to ambulance calls, it tells the story of doubling up either ambulance call, the amount of ambulances that we need to assign. Of course, some of those go beyond the fire service, and where we can respond, we like to respond. And I can also speak to efforts towards getting additional ambulances in time, so that, especially where we have the heavy workload, which the data speaks to, we will be able to have multiple ambulances, so that more of the calls, even more of the calls that we receive, we will be able to respond to them.
The number of bushfires reported in 2014 were 120, compared to 146 calls in 2013. There was a significant decline in the number of non-bush fires across the island. The department received reports of 199 calls in 2014, as compared to 317 calls in 2013.
This is not accidental. I think it tells a story about some of the public relations work that we are doing with our radio program, sensitizing people about the importance of proper safety practices at home. And I'm sure you can see evidence of that as you go to schools, as you go to public buildings, as you go to the different places of business. You would certainly see evidence of a greater presence of fire safety infrastructure at those places.
The Fire Prevention Unit trained 2,650 individuals in 2014. Currently, there are 110 fire officers in the service. 11 fire officers were awarded for their hard work and dedication as part of the Fire and Ambulance Service Department. A small ceremony was held at the Fire and Ambulance Department on Wednesday as part of a press conference to discuss the year in review. Some of these officers were also awarded at the recent Public Service Day Awards 2015. Here is an example of some of the things that the Chief Fire Officer, Josiah Dupuy, had to say about the young men who received awards.
He is very competent in body repairs, spray painting, mechanical engineering, retrofitting now. I have just added that to him. He is also, normally you associate technical skills with someone, and I don't mean to be disrespectful at all, but with someone who is not academically inclined. This is not the case with Officer Alexander. He is in fact one of the brightest middle officers we have in the fire service. He is also responsible for keeping a few of our vehicles functional in the fire service, but more particularly, especially at the Melville Hall Fire Station. Very, very critical area. And so I want to say to you, thank you for your wonderful work. Keep it up. And I think you're deserving of all the awards that you could get today.
The officers receiving awards were Michael Warrington, Andrew Francis, Efson Alexander, Alvin Jarvis, Barry Daru, Chris Cadet, Dwayne Winston, Davin Paul, Wayne Later, and Courtney Challenger. The Fire Officer of the Year award went to Donaldson Frederick. This officer is an all-rounder and is elated to be named Fire Officer of the Year.
On a daily basis, my job entails answering the telephone, making notes in the station diary, responding to ambulance calls, responding to fire calls, responding to accident calls. These are basically some of my duties. And now and then I do a bit of supervision. My ability to continue working hard. There are some instances where I basically put my own effort, motivated myself intrinsically, and that has assisted me a lot in achieving this award.
He had this advice to give to anyone who wants to join the Dominica Fire and Ambulance Services.
I want to say that the fire department is a very good organization. It's a department where you come in and you can build yourself to a level where you learn different skills. You learn different techniques. For example, there are first aid skills, there are CPR skills, there are search and rescue skills, and a number of areas where you can improve yourself as an individual. I think it's a great place, and any young individual should embrace the opportunity if they're given to be part of the Dominica Fire and Ambulance Services.
As a result of an ongoing effort for climate change resilience, particularly in small island states, a team from the World Bank is on island to commence the implementation of a pilot program in Dominica to the tune of EC $103 million. This was announced by the Environment Minister, the Honorable Dr. Kenneth Daru, at a recent interview with GIS News. Dr. Daru says he is pleased with the current developments.
Finally, a lot of this talk came in. A lot of people would have heard me over the past 5 years talking, but I'm really glad that this is really happening right now, so we can actually see storm drains being built, which is going to protect communities, protect land, protect property, and protect lives.
According to the Honorable Minister, personnel recruitment and the project coordinating unit is already being established. He says a few projects identified under the multi-million-dollar program are also underway, and nationals can look forward to a water project on the West Coast. Honorable Daru added that too often plans are not converted into action, and as such there is greater need for more tangible development.
If you follow the international politics, you will see that the whole issue of environment, sustainable development, climate change, these topics are high on the agenda of a number of the developed countries, and everyone wants to, every government or every prime minister, president in the developed world wants to show that he or she is taking the lead into being climate change conscious and quote unquote doing the right thing. So we are optimistic. As I said, there's still a lot to be done, and a lot of promises have been made, a lot of commitments have been made which haven't materialized or been actualized into actual funding that is going to benefit the people. Climate change and all of this global recession and everything, they are affecting the everyday person, the farmers, the fishermen, the small business, the small hotel owner on the beachfront property, etc., because they're the ones that are going to be affected. So unless all of this, as I said, high-level talk and all of these glossy documents be transferred, converted rather into or translated into actual funding, actual financial resources made available to adapt or mitigate against its effects, all of these talk and all of these conferences really are going to be worthless.
Currently, $8 million has been set aside for improving the drains across the island, and according to Dr. Daru, there is more development to come. Mass Dominic 2015 will be celebrated under the theme C'est la vie nous, as organizers aim to keep the motto of the real Mass. At the first press conference of many more to be hosted by the Dominica Festivals Committee, Ferdinand Frampton of the Queen Show Committee remarked that the DFC is working hard to put on a show of exceptional standards this year, and also hopes that the future Queen will keep up the previous trend of excelling at pageants.
We are working really hard, the Queen Show Committee, Dominica Festivals Committee, Discover Dominica Authority, to once again give you a show that you will enjoy, and at the end we will get a Miss Dominica that emerges, who will go out into the region and represent Dominica to the best of her ability. As you know, we have a record of our Miss Dominicas over the last few years going out there and just, grabbing at crowns, and we're hoping that the Miss Dominica 2015 will be able to do the same.
Agent of the DFC, Val Coffey, went into detail on some major changes that the DFC is embarking on this year to further improve the quality of Carnival this season.
2015, as we have structured them, is to indicate that there's a pageantry weekend, which will be February 6th. The changing of the Carnival Queen Show, which normally happens on the Friday preceding Carnival, will be now on the 6th. Then we have the Mother's Queen Show on the 7th, and the 8th we have the Teenage Pageant. So we have blocked it off to show you that there's a pageantry weekend. And the following weekend we have our all Bacchanal weekend, which will start off with the Stardom Calypso King of the Tent, the Showdown Mass Camp, Champ of the Camp, come down to the Friday evening where we have the Port Calypso show that's going to go on. There's also going to be the Booyah Festival. Then we're going to have continuing Bacchanal weekend with the Calypso finals on the 13th, and then we have on the 14th, which we call Fete Till You Drop. We're asking you to go to the Rotary Sauce and Punch, go to the Carnival Board La Mer, go to the Swinging Stars Daybreak Jam at the Fortune Hotel. Wherever there's a fete, we want every Dominican to support it and then get ready for Juve morning. We want to encourage you to Juve morning. We have seen over the last couple years, people take Juve very seriously. Get your costumes ready. There'll be lots of prizes afforded to people who can present themselves in their groups and stuff like that. So definitely for us, it's the packaging of this activity to the pageantry weekend and to the All Bacchanal weekend, inclusive of the new event, which is the Booyah Festival, and the changing of the Queen Show to the weekend before, which will help us in terms of making our Carnival Queen reign over, instead of having to be very droopy and sleepy after being crowned late in the hours of the morning to get ready to go and crown whoever the Calypso monarch is. She'll now be wide awake with her friends, being able to enjoy Calypso finals for a change.
And 2015 Queen contestant Kiana John of Salisbury was officially sashed on Wednesday, receiving sponsorship from the West Coast Cooperative Credit Union. At a press conference on Wednesday at the Dominica Festivals Committee office, President of the Board of Directors of the West Coast Cooperative Credit Union, Helen Ambo, says that the cooperative views this sponsorship as an investment in the youth and culture of Dominica.
It is time for West Coast, together with Kiana, to jump on the national stage. And the platform set by Mass Dominic. That's our girl. And in sponsoring her, we try to accomplish two things, we think. Firstly, we are investing in youth talent and youth dream. And secondly, we share the responsibility for developing national heritage and culture. And we're hoping, of course, to make the most of it. For us, it is a good investment. This does not mean that we shall be in a position to sponsor every young person on the West Coast who has a dream. But we are grateful that this time we are making the effort. And we are grateful for Kiana for giving us this opportunity.
Ambo also commended Kiana for the courage to embark on such a challenging journey as the Miss Dominica 2015 pageant.
We are into the big effort. We want to applaud Kiana's ambition, her talent, and her self-motivation that has led her on this journey. I am sure that for her it is very exciting, and it is also a tremendous challenge. In the choice that she has made, we see traits that young people can emulate. For example, we see the trait to dare to stand out, to dare to reach for the higher hanging fruit, and I dare say the sweeter fruit. We see the trait of having the courage to stand public scrutiny, and we know how public scrutiny in Dominica can be brutal, to defy the small voices within us that say no, and that say you can't, and that say you shouldn't. And we also see the trait that challenges a desire to stay in a safer place, which all of us experience.
Kiana John expressed her gratitude to her sponsor and made a promise to bring home the crown.
I am very excited. I am elated to be sponsored by a private cooperative finally. So first of all, I'd like to thank the West Coast Cooperative Credit Union Limited for taking this initiative, for coming on board to sponsor me. And the sponsorship is a large sum, so I am very thankful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I would like to promote you wherever I go as a thank you. And for this sponsorship, I promise that on the night of February 6th, I will be bringing home the crown to the West Coast Cooperative Credit Union.
Before we go, here are a few announcements. Private candidates registered to write the January 2015 CXC examinations are asked to collect their timetables from the local registrar's office during normal working hours. Please be guided accordingly. The Ministry of Justice, Immigration and National Security is giving notice that the High Court of Justice of the Commonwealth of Dominica will begin its sitting for the trial of criminal cases on Tuesday, the 13th day of January 2015 at 9 a.m. at the High Court, Bayfront, Roseau, with the arraignment of accused persons. The Comptroller of Inland Revenue Division informs all persons that the deadline for submitting requests for tax adjustments in respect of mortgage interest and student loans is Tuesday, January 13th, 2014. The Youth Development Division invites applications from young men and women wishing to pursue training under the Youth Skills Training Program in computer skills at the Castle Bruce Youth Center, the Roseau Youth Enterprise Center, the Grand Bay Youth Center, the Portsmouth Youth Center, and Wesley Youth Center to commence in February 2015. Electrical wiring at the Roseau Youth Center and woodwork. Application forms can be obtained from the Youth Development Division's office on 3 Charles Avenue, Goodwill, or from the district youth offices, and should be returned no later than January 30th, 2015. The Roseau City Council wishes to advise vendors selling marketable commodities on the sidewalks on Old Street, King George V Street, Cross Street, Independence Street, and other areas in the city that they should desist from the practice effective 31st January 2015. In accordance with legislation, all marketable commodities must be sold at the designated place, that is the Roseau Market. Vendors refusing to comply will be prosecuted. Persons wishing to vend for the Carnival season must obtain and fill out the necessary application from the office of the Roseau City Council and pay the associated fees prior to erecting of bars or stalls on the sidewalks for Carnival Monday and Tuesday, February 16th and 17th, 2015, and also outside of the respective venues where Carnival activities are being held in the city of Roseau. Bars and stalls erected without the necessary authorization of the council will be confiscated and a fee will be imposed for repossession of the same. The Forestry and Wildlife Division wishes to inform the general public that the official hunting and freshwater fishing season came to an end on December 31st, 2014, and there should be no hunting of game species nor taking of freshwater species. The division would also like to further remind the traveling public that an export permit is required to take wildlife out of the country. In this regard, the division will continue to issue export permits until January 31st, 2015. The division would like to thank the general public and its partners for their support throughout 2014 and wishes everyone a happy new year. Members of the public are reminded that in keeping with the provisions of the Social Security Amendment Act 2 of 2012 and the Social Security Amendment Regulations 4, 7, and 8 of 2012, the following changes are to take effect as of January 1st, 2015. Increase in pensionable age, that is the age at which an insured person who has satisfied the prescribed contributions conditions is entitled to receive age benefit, shall increase from 61.5 years, that is 61 years and 6 months, to 62 years. Notwithstanding the above stated increase, an insured person who has satisfied the necessary contribution requirements for receipt of an age benefit may at any time after attaining the age of 60 years opt to claim for the payment of a reducing age benefit. Increase in the contribution rate. The contribution rate in respect of employees, self-employed persons, and voluntary contributors shall increase by a quarter or 0.25%. Further clarification on these changes can be obtained from the Office of the Dominica Social Security. And that's all the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à ces nouvelles en créole. Non moins, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, département pompier tient conférence nouvelle jeudi. Où là, ils ont déclaré activité qui prend place en département là. Monsieur Josiah Dupé, c'est chef département pompier Dominique.
Nous avons ambulance call, nous avons calls là nous sorti étant diffé. Et nous avons aussi nous avons pompiers qui travaillent bien l'année passée. Nous avons remercié eux et un petit bitin pour faire eux savent qui nous apprécient ça. Eh bien, quand nous avons parlé contre ambulance calls, nous voyons que ambulance call monté par 1400 quelque 447 et ça c'est un gros increase ambulance calls qui nous tapé l'année passée. Mais nous croyons ça c'est parce que plus de monde a couillé, mais les gens couillé aussi, nous avons plus d'ambulances qui nous a répondu. Comme ça, moi crois ça a parlé contre un improvement en service à département d'IFE. Et nous voulons improve si moins plus encore en année ça là qui nous en dedans et moi crois nous que ça fait ça.
Dieu peut faire parole comment département ça là que mettez plus officiers à bord ambulance.
C'est pour mettre des menaces ambulance. Nous pas ça faire ça tout le temps et en toute station mais pour à présent là nous qui taper plus nous qui faire ça mais en toute station mais pour à présent nous voulons faire ça certainement là nous ka sorti en Roseau parce qu'on Portsmouth nous voulons que ça sorti et puis des menaces ambulance parce que nous savons nous menaces ambulance c'est pas ça pas ça fait bon travail mais si on est des monde on a plus meilleure chance pour aider des monde qui en difficulté.
Alors nouvelle, une délégation Banque Latin a visité le pays là à présent pour commencer l'implémentation en pilot programme pour faire épée changement climatique. Délégation là en Dominique qu'on pays a mis attention à ce climate resilience et spécialement qu'on ça a affecté petit pays qui a développé. Si le ministre environ honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow, programme là en Dominique a coûté avec $3 millions la genou. Dr. Darrow aussi fait parole que le gouvernement Dominique bien plaisir et puis développement salam qu'on changement climatique a bien affecté pays comme Dominique. Et aussi fait parole qu'il a déjà mis un département en place pour deal et puis implémentation projet là. Ministre Darrow dit des projets déjà identifiés qui ont implémenté un projet de l'eau en West Coast pays là qui a coûté autant $1 million. $8 millions déjà mis à ses côtés pour avancer plaisir dalles et puis miroir tout un pays là en bas programme ça là. À la nouvelle, Dominica Festival Comité Chain Conference Media jeudi pour annoncer yon de bagaille pour saison Carnival l'année 2015. Monsieur Val Kofi, c'est officier d'IFC Dominique.
C'est la première first conference que nous avons pour Carnival Dominique 2015. Nous parlons avec Foodina Frampton, c'est sponsor Lime. Eh bien, aujourd'hui là, Kenya John, de Salisbury, tapé l'agent de West Coast Corporate Credit Union pour ici, madame qui a pour Queen Show pour l'année ça. Nous parlons de Kaiso, nous parlons de Bouillon Festival, nous parlons de tout le café pour Carnaval Dominique. Nous tout le monde venir ensemble, venir aider nous sur l'argent, nous pour faire ça nous fait. Autant de monde qui sponsor, nous les d'autres. Nous les autres monde venir faire ça, faire pour Dominique. C'est Carnaval là, nous avons fait official opening là, January 24th. Nous avons fait pour la Savannah, et nous avons dit tout le monde là, nous avons allé avec ça, avec du travail, tout travail qu'a fait, avec band, avec musique.
Et puis finalement, organisation Crime Stoppers, qui a mis en place pour faire jeunesse connaître plus contre l'organisation là. Il y a un petit bagage là, il y a une initiative, c'est un contest pour l'école en pays là. Participants qui contestent en essay writing, poésie, art, short stories et puis création jingles. Compétition là ouverte pour l'école primaire et puis secondaire en pays là. Quand même si l'officier Crime Stoppers Michael Henderson Del Sol, 64 écoles contactées pour participer en contest là. Contest là tient à une manière pour inspirer jeunesse engagée pour reporter crime et puis manière pour empêcher. Permanent Secrétaire en ministre de la Sécurité nationale Gérald Jean-Jacques fait parole comment tout le monde s'est posé engagé en affaires pour arrêter crime et puis aussi il a remercié Crime Stoppers pour l'initiative ça là. Compagnie Astafan et puis Lime qui a fait contribution pour prize pour compétition là. Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non, moi, c'est McPherson Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up, tips on keeping your cool.
Dominica is blessed with an abundance of water, but getting it to your home is an expensive venture. You have a responsibility to conserve water, to use it wisely. Remember the old adage, you never miss the water till the well runs dry. Think water, think life.
The black Sikatoka fungus can survive on banana and plantain leaves even after they have been cut from the tree. Farmers and hucksters are encouraged to use alternate cushioning material when moving produce from farm to the market. Do not use banana and plantain leaves as cushioning. It is against the law to move banana and plantain trash from the field. Obey the law and stop the spread of black Sikatoka today.
Here are a few ways to stay calm under pressure. It is a good thing to realize that you can control your emotions. Simply know what triggers these emotions. Create a calm environment with peaceful rituals. And take care of the essentials. Make sure you get enough sleep and enough protein, vitamins, and minerals. And a daily workout can give you that physical release you need to control your anxiety. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts or our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I'm Nisha Charles. Thanks for watching.